There are those who believe that weapons such as the Braton Prime should be ignored, forgotten. Have you heard this one? Level it and forget it. Honestly, it makes me sad because the Braton Prime holds a very vital role when it comes to weapons in Warframe, and just because it has a low mastery rank requirement doesn't make it a weak weapon. And today, my friends, I have the absolute pleasure of revisiting this old school fan favorite. I got a cheap setup, something introductory for the more casual Tenno, and fear not my newer friends, I'm gonna be going through everything that you need to know. But also, we got the endgame setup with prime mods, galvanized mods, essentially the works, and we're gonna be taking this puppy to Steel Path just so you can see how it performs. So I'm gonna be taking you from 0 to hero. That said though, please bear in mind that my builds and guides usually take a more new player friendly approach. I'm gonna be spending more time and explaining whatever I feel is necessary for newer Tenno. So in case you're a vet and you already know most of this stuff, please bear with me. As always, my name is Leyzar and this is the Braton Prime. Let us begin by checking out how the weapon handles without any mods equipped, and for that, just a couple of our regular free shots. The Braton Prime is what you can call a true blue assault rifle experience. Yes, my friends, it doesn't really get more basic, more introductory than the Braton Prime. And you know what? That's absolutely fantastic, because simple doesn't necessarily mean bad. As you can see, you point, you shoot, you win. This is a hit scan weapon, and the recoil on this one, 50-meter test, roughly 50-meter test. Most of the bullets will be landing within the crosshairs, no problem whatsoever. As for the recoil, it doesn't go up and down like most weapons in Warframe, it jiggles from side to side. But let's be honest, who doesn't like a little bit of a jiggle? So if you guys are coming for something like Counter-Strike or a more standard FPS experience, you're going to be loving yourself the Braton as a more of an introductory level weapon to Warframe's craziness and all whatnot. The magazine size is 75, so super solid. Reload is on the quick side as well. And that's pretty much it. You can't really fault the Braton Prime when it comes to usability. You either love it or you hate it. You know what I love about it? Listen to this. Just for a second, I want you fantastic individuals to listen to the sound effects volume. I'm gonna max it out like so, and you're gonna absolutely love the thunderous sound of this automatic rifle. And cue. How's that? How's that? Absolutely bloody fantastic. Now let's hop into stats to see exactly what we're dealing with. Mod capacity is gonna be 60 out of 60. Now, if your Braton comes with, oh no, only 30 out of 30, how did you get 60 out of 60? Well, I'm glad you asked that question. What you gotta do is jump into actions, plug in an Auto King Catalyst. Yes, my friends, this is basically what you gotta do with most weapons in Warframe that you wanna max out. Now, some will come with this Auto King Catalyst already installed, but most won't. This will double your mod capacity, which is why I have 60 out of 60. Next, to get the most out of the weapon, you're gonna have to format the process of polarization, and as you can see over here, I got 6 on mine. Don't worry, you're not gonna have to format this puppy 6 times, but you're still kinda looking at 4 to get the most out of the weapon. You got a special rivet mod for it, you gotta go to 5. Got all the galvanized mods, you gotta go to 6. You get where I am going with this. Now, if you're a more newer Tenno, you don't have this empty arcane slot. When you will have it, unlock it, because essentially these arcane slots are raw power. And it's as simple as that. Not only power, but also usability. Take a look at Merciless, you also get reload speed, which is absolutely insane, or minus weapon recoil in the case of Deadhead. Now, Deadhead is fantastic to go for a raw strength approach if your build is going to be catered around something like corrosive and heat. For example, yes, Deadhead is the way to go. You can't get headshots? You're the kind of guy that can't aim for heads? Well, then you gotta go for something like Merciless instead. And if you're gonna be using it in tandem with your melee, go with Primary Dexterity. As for the Weapon Excellence slot, if you're just starting out in Warframe, you don't really need to unlock this one, because it's gonna take you a while to get the resources, or you can pay the plat price to have it unlocked. In this one, you got a couple of options. If you aim on staying forever in a mission, God knows why, Vigilante supplies or ammo or something like a rifle ammo mutation will get the job done. My recommendation is going to be Vigilante supplies. If you don't like that tiny bit of a recoil on the weapon, Stabilizer. Again, these help you with usability, and it's hard to quantify how much extra DPS you get from usability mods. Think about it like this: less recoil, more headshots. More headshots, a lot more damage, because as you should know by this point, headshots give you a lot more damage, especially if those headshots are going to be crits. But so we don't talk more on the subject, because it's a 10-minute conversation. Link in the cards right now for a full and detailed guide on critical gens and critical damage. For now, if you're new, you can leave this one locked. Accuracy is fantastic, maximum ammo fantastic, pickup is fantastic at 80, fire rate is 10. Well, 9.58, fine. It's still super solid for an introductory level prime weapon such as this one. Magazine again, solid, noise alarming, because you know, automatic rifle, no silencer. Reload on 2.2. Here's the weird part, it never felt like 2.2 in actual gameplay. 2.2 is above average. And here's the kick in the teeth. Riven Dispo 4 out of 5. What the hell is Riven Disposition? You see, every weapon in Warframe have these special mods, or you can get a special mod for them, and this disposition controls how powerful they can be. Not what you actually get on them, just how big it is. That's not important. What is important, with 4 out of 5, this is a pretty big Riven Disposition, which indicates that the weapon is not very popular, which is a plus for us, because we're going to be playing with the Braton Prime, and we can leverage high-powered Rivens. And you know what? Braton Rivens? Super cheap. Super cheap, and you can also use them on the Vandal as well, but I recommend you go for the Prime. Trigger automatic, nice and simple. Critical chance, critical damage. 12% base. You know what 12% is? 12% is here to piss me off, general reasons. 12% is right on the edge of worth building crit on the weapon, and yes, my friends, even I'm fully aware some of you will say, dude, it's not worth. It is. Mathematically worth building crit on the weapon. So do bear that one in mind. Multiplier is solid, 2.0x is the standard, if you will. Status chance is good at 26%, considering the amount of bullets we're going to be putting into our targets quickly. And the damage layout, you got full IPS impact, puncture, slash. The highest, in this case, is a good thing, slash, which means we're going to be able to get some slashes out of this one. But most of our slashes are going to be coming from one of the most overpowered mods in the game, Hunter Mumu. Or munitions, better said. 40% chance to apply a slash on critical. You know why this goddamn thing is so powerful? Because it bypasses the whole status mechanic. It doesn't care. It gets you the most powerful damage over time effect for critical chance. It doesn't care about the status chance. That's why this one is so powerful. And it has been for 4 years something. Yep, about 4 years something. But enough about that. Let's check out a standard introductory level setup that I want you to treat as a jumping off point. Damage acceleration, multi-shot split chamber, critical chance and critical damage reducer, critical delay and vital sense. Like we talked earlier, we got Hunter munitions. Now you should know by this point, but if you don't, let me tell you, when you go with damage over time effects, it's important to have on your target vital effects as well. Is it mandatory? Nope. Definitely not, and if you're going down on Deimos, for example, Vital isn't really gonna do you much good. Go with Corrosive, but normally Vital is the way to go with Rhyme Rounds and Malignant Force, the 260-60 Vital mods. Now I call them the Vital mods simply because Cold and Toxin in combination give you vital damage. Malignant Force is farmable from Corrupted Void and the Void, and Rhyme Rounds, you get this one from doing spy missions. Now on the last slot, this is what I like to call an option slot. Plug into this puppy whatever you feel comfortable with. You want to know what's a solid cheap option that you cannot beat in terms of, well, math? Vigilante Armaments. Just because a mod is bronze doesn't mean that mod is not worthwhile. 60% multi-shot is absolutely huge. It's going to take my multi-shot from 1.9 all the way to 2.5. Allow me to explain what that means. With every discharge of the weapon, you got guaranteed two bullets and a 50% chance at a third bullet. Insane. If I go with standard, just with a single multi-shot mod, namely split chamber, I got 1.9. So the usual one bullet and a 90% chance at a second bullet. But if you flip the coin, if you look at it from the other perspective, per each discharge, you got a 10% chance of this being completely worthless. Your split chamber. Of not getting that second bullet. So honestly, smart people go with Vigilante Armaments. I am not very smart, and I'm gonna go with Vial Acceleration simply because the weapon feels a whole lot better, and in terms of DPS, this is a better solution. I want to leverage that big magazine of 75. 90% fire rate, minus 15% damage. What the hell, minus 15% damage? Yes. This is what you call a corrupted mod. I want you to have a look over here and over here. Critical delay as well as Vial Acceleration. These are corrupted mods. The corrupted mods offer you a big chunk of something, but also take away a little bit of something. Look at this. Takes away 20% of my fire rate, knocking it down to 16.29. If I didn't have critical delay here, it would be up to 18.21. In Warframe, you have a lot of these corrupted mods, and the thing is, they are super powerful. They are meta on weapon builds, Warframe builds, companion builds, on companion builds, on a lot of builds. If you guys want to know how to properly farm them, I got a nifty guide in the cards right now. And we're going to be testing out the build like so. Let's see what kind of performance we can get. What I will spawn is what most of you using the Braton Prime are not gonna see. The Braton Prime is really an introductory prime weapon. I'm gonna spawn in level 120 corrupted heavy goons. Now these corrupted heavy goons have a lot of damage mitigation, and you're not gonna see this, not even in sortie free. You will see them in Archon hunts, but at your level I expect many of you don't know what Archon hunts are. The point is, these are a lot more tougher than you will get to see. Let's see what the weapon can do. Go for, oh my god. It jumps through them, my boy. Of course it jumps through them, my boy. Look at how many bullets I'm putting into them, how fast, thanks to the modding setup. And I want you to take a look that most of the damage is done by those beautiful damage over time effects. Which are they? Take a look at this guy's head. You see that? You got 3 symbols. First is puncture, second is slash, third is vital. What you're interested in getting as many slashes and a couple of vital procs on your targets. And those are going to absolutely annihilate whatever stands before you. Now, this might not seem all that impressive because these are level 120 corrupted heavy goons, and even so, they are getting absolutely melted. But let me show you what happens if I spawn. What would be something appropriate for the Braton Prime? Come on, don't tell me level 5000 or anything of the sort. Let's say something like level 50s. Do you even see level 50s? Let's say level 50. This guy, and we're gonna spawn some corpus. Yeah, people see corpus. Yeah, look, I'll spawn the Moa thing. And do I have any more room? Yes. What else? Infested. Let's healer. Yes. Let's spawn a couple of ancient healers as well. There we go. And we're gonna summon all of them because I want you to have a representation of each of the factions. Yes. Even though what I showed you initially, those corrupted heavy goons are by far the tankiest of the bunch. I mean, you get it? Now you should also know, my fledgling Tenno, that the damage types that you're slinging at enemies have different bonuses depending on what you're hitting. My vital has extra damage against those infested with the red health bar. That is flesh, so you get more damage from the vital type. Now these corrupted heavy goons are equipped with ferrite armor, and if I had corrosive on my weapon, that would deal bonus damage as well. Alright, so that's also something to bear in mind. And now for the corpus units, these usually have a whole lot of shield. I mean, there's nothing for you to pick from their remains, honestly. It's absolutely freaking insane. This is what the Braton Prime can do when you know how to build it properly. Now, this concludes the introductory level portion of the guide. Let's say you're a veteran, yes, and you got everything you need, my friends. You got the resources, you got the... Oh, that was a level 120 there, see? You got the resources, you got the time, and you're not afraid of putting a few forma into the Braton Prime. In that case, you want to make a couple of changes to the build. Go from this to something like this. You got yourself Galvanized Chamber instead of the normal version, Galvanized Aptitude instead of Serration. Now, what Galvanized Aptitude will do will give me that flat damage that I need, in combination with Primary Merciless that we talked about earlier. The rest of the build is pretty similar, except this pape right here, Braton Satiata. Damage multi-shot. My friends, this is a pretty standard run-of-the-mill, decent-ish Riven for the Braton Prime. The most important stat that you need on a Riven on most weapons, including the Braton Prime, is gonna be multi-shot. The flat damage, honestly, I could do without, considering that I have Galvanized Aptitude and Merciless. A bit of extra critical chance would not hurt, because again, I would get more slashes out of Hunter munitions. But you will see that with a build such as this, the difference would be... How do I put this? Humongoid and all whatnot. Let's go to level 120. Oh, maximum level? Sure, level 165. This is the highest I can spawn currently in the Simulacrum. But fear not, we're also going to be taking it to Steel Path as well. Am I even recording this? Good, I am. Fantastic. Straight for headshots as per the usual. Now, this being a galvanized setup, as you might know, those mods need a couple of kills in order to wet their feet and all whatnot. But just after a couple of kills, you can see that I'm jumping through the target a whole lot more potently than before. Get 4 to 5 kills and this weapon goes absolutely insane. Honestly, I am surprised that a weapon such as the Braton Prime, as basic and as introductory and as easy to get as this one, can absolutely chomp through high level targets like a hot knife through butter. But there's one more argument to be had. Hey dude, I can headshot standing still targets all day. What about actual moving enemies? Ah, good point. Welcome to the Void. Now let's see what the Braton Prime can do in Steel Path. Now these are level 130-ish. As you can see, Steel Path, you get those modifiers, you get 250% health shield and armor, as well as 100 on the level. And even so, with barely any stacks at all, the Braton Prime has no problem whatsoever in tearing up Steel Path, a introductory basic level weapon such as this one. This is the power of modding, because you see, Warframe is hardly a game about skill per se, it's more about knowledge. It's up to you to have all the information to know exactly what goes where in order to get the best results. Corrupted Heavy Gun, level 132, Steel Path, put in a lot of shots into him, Bleeds absolutely annihilated the target, even the little sentry drones are easy to kill. As for my setup, I got Revenant with me, which gives me a whole heap of survivability, crowd control, as well as the Panzervolpaphyla. The Panzervolpaphyla is invaluable in Steel Path because it gets you vital procs. You see these little tumor-like things on the targets? Yes, those are from the Panzervolpaphyla. It applies vital damage, which means I can mod something else on my weapon, something like heat or corrosive. Do bear in mind though, sometimes you go really quick for Steel Path and the reliability of the Panzervolpaphyla leaves something to be desired, so do bear that one in mind. On the plus side, she's immortal. Now, what can I tell you more about Steel Path gameplay? Honestly, you can fully clear Starshot Steel Path with no problem whatsoever just with a Braton Prime. I mean, take a look. It doesn't have any issue whatsoever. The Corrupted Heavy Gun, no problem, even with the damage mitigations of 2 little shield sentries there. That's pretty much it. Honestly, if you're not sold on the weapon by now... Oh, but drop me a like if you want to see what I can do with the normal Braton, with the MK1 Braton actually in Steel Path. That should be nice and fun. Now, there's still a couple of things that I do want to show you, so back to the simulacrum. And that is Warframe buffs and synergies. Now I'll be honest with you for just a second. You can make almost any weapon in the game seem powered if you add the right Warframe buffs and the right Warframe synergies. Essentially, it's putting lipstick on a pig for the most part, which is why I want to show you each and every single time how the weapon performs on its own merits and then add a little bit of extra power, actually a whole lot of extra power with Warframe buffs. And you know what? It doesn't get more powerful than Lady Mirage Prime at her outstanding buffs. When it comes to heavily armored targets, make sure you have corrosive projection on. Yes, it will help. Is it 100% mandatory? Definitely not. If your build needs something like physique rejuvenation, or if you're a more newer player, I know you guys love energy siphon, go for the aura of your choosing. If the aura is that relevant to you, please don't forget about coaction drift. It's a nifty little mod that helps out your aura to a certain extent, and it goes 15% aura strength and 15% aura effectiveness. Now I know what you're saying, what does that actually bloody do? Well, to know that, you gotta go on over to the Fandom Warframe website. They have a nice little table there and they explain everything, so we don't waste another 5 minutes on that one. Arcanes. My friends, arcanes are a lot more impactful. Is as simple as that. Plug into these the most powerful arcanes that you can. Now you got 2 arcanes per Warframe. If you haven't unlocked them yet, don't worry about it. When you do unlock them, I would recommend that at least one of your arcanes is dedicated to your Warframe. You'll have arcanes which give you armor, energy back, and so on and so forth. In this case, we're showcasing a weapon, so we're gonna go with arcane acceleration. On critical hit, 30% chance for 90% fire rate to primary weapons, excludes shotguns for 9 seconds, because for shotguns we have another one. Now this one is farmed from the second Eidolon down on Cetus. Arcane Avenger is probably the most powerful offensive arcane in the game. Now this one gets you 45% critical chance for 12 seconds, a 21% chance on damage, but this is a bonus additive after. So it simply stacks on top of what you already have, that 45%. It doesn't care how much crit your weapon has, right? It can have 0, you're still getting that 45%, and get this, it applies to your primary, secondary, and to your melee at the exact same time. Reason why this is so goddamn powerful. You can also add a bit more power to your weapon using something like your Void Schools, but I fear that players that use the Braton Prime right now might not know what that is, and that involves spoilers, so I'm just gonna say Void Schools will be some sort of voodoo that you will learn later, and I will not tell you about it because I don't want to spoil. You can still use companion buffs, the Panzervolpaphyla, which we already talked about, or if you prefer crit, pick a sentinel. Any sentinel you want, whatever works for you. For example, if you go for carrier or carrier prime, this will help you with ammo because of ammo case. Ammo will not be a concern unless you want to do super long endurance runs, which I don't really recommend. Just make sure that on that sentinel's weapon you got the 4 vigilante mods: offense, supplies, fervor, and armaments. You see that set bonus over there, 20% chance to enhance critical hits from primary weapons? Yeah, Even if your little sentinel dies and never comes back to life, you retain that buff. But if you used any of these, yes, for example, Vigilante supplies in the excellent slot of the weapon and Vigilante armaments in the actual main weapon build, don't use them on this one. Yes, because you'll not get the, well, the actual benefit and all whatnot. Is that all? I hope to God that's freaking all. Now we're gonna spawn the same targets once again, and you'll see how powerful this weapon can be. I'm gonna unpause them so they can hit me, and I can try to get my headshots a bit more fair and square. Empower for Mirage and her free ability for absolutely massive eclipse, 840%. And one more time for the best animation ever to come out of Warframe. Ever so lovely. Oh, beautiful clones. Now, my friends, again for headshots as per the usual, and as you can see, Braton Prime now becomes a full-blown monster that can quickly and easily clear house. That was a full pack of mean level 165 corrupted heavy goons reduced to nothingness in just a matter of seconds. Granted, this is a lot of credit to Mirage, but you saw how the weapon performs with no buffs whatsoever. I don't know how to sell you more on this weapon. It's a fantastic weapon, and just because you're a starting Xeno, and just because this is a low MR requirement Prime weapon, does not make it a weak weapon. This is not a weak weapon. It's a fantastic weapon. Is it one of the best in Warframes? Don't be silly. Of course not. You're gonna meet a whole lot more powerful weapons later on. But you know what? This can basically take you from mostly that everything that Warframe can throw at you. And I do believe, my friends, that is pretty much it. As always, my name is Lazer. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, favorite, share, and subscribe only if you enjoy the content. And you can also find me on Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, all the usual places. If you want to suggest me a weapon guide to tackle next, I would love to read it in the comment section down below. And if you love our content and you want to help us keep making it, please consider supporting us via Patreon. There will be a link in the card, upper right portion of the screen right now, in the description down below. But until next time, my friends, bye-bye.